Hello everyone, this is Farooq and welcome to Revpanda Live. Before we get started with today's session, I would like to take a moment and thank you all for your incredible support. We have completed 22 episodes and hosted over 25 iGaming leaders on Revpanda Live. We have just launched Revpanda Live as a podcast on all major platforms, and now you can access everything iGaming anytime and anywhere. And speaking of accessing valuable insights, today we'll discuss the question on everyone's mind: is iGaming hitting a plateau? My guest at this episode of Revpanda Live is Michael Oziransky, Chief Product Officer at Vegangster. Michael, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thanks for having me, Fark. Very nice to join you.
Thank you. Before we jump into the conversation, Michael, maybe you can tell a bit about yourself to our viewers and what you do at Vegangster.
All right, so I've been doing this product thing for a while now. Coming originally from operations, so I'm familiar with the operational side as well. Joined Vegangster to lead the product team, basically leading everything from design, product management, road mapping, innovation, even technical support to get as much feedback as possible from the field, and to incorporate this into the product. So I'm really passionate about the product, basically.
You're wearing a lot of hats, Michael. And are you also attending the iGaming events time to time? Because I have seen you a couple of times.
Yeah, I'm trying to travel a couple of times. In many cases, we have our booth, so I'm trying to help and meet with as many potential customers, colleagues, partners, and so on. Not maybe as often as I would like to, but from time to time I'm visiting.
Michael, let's start with the big picture. In our last chat, you gave a bit of your thoughts on the iGaming market in 2025, and I found it so interesting. I'll ask the question right away. Are we entering a period of stagnation in iGaming?
Honestly, it feels slightly like a plateau from obviously I'm looking from the product perspective. I think I got this feeling visiting Last Ice, which was an amazing new location, an amazing show, and I have this habit of trying to get to see almost every stand that is available there. And I got this feeling that we're kind of seeing repetitive products and seeing repetitive solutions all over. So it felt a bit like a plateau for me. Of course, there's a lot of fine tuning that was done around gamification features. So some solutions are very crisp and very fine tuned and done in a very nice way. But still, we're kind of working on the same product line, same solutions, and fine tuning them to perfection. So this is how it felt. It's like I don't know, going to your favorite restaurant. The dish is very good, but it's the same all over again, right? There's definitely a lot of kind of changes around regulation part. In different jurisdictions, this part is definitely changing. But on the product side, it felt slightly kind of more of the same. I think in general, it's not a bad thing, to have this stage of, tweaking and making sure that everything is fine-tuned and, is providing the best player experience. But feels like we're kind of maybe before, like a new leap towards some new solutions. It's like this quiet before the storm, hopefully. So maybe a bit more, interactive things, maybe something that is more from the social gaming experiences. Also feels like something should start happening maybe in the near future. This is kind of my feeling from the last couple of years, I would say.
I feel like you're hopeful because when we use the word stagnation, people may be scared. But what I hear
Yeah.
from you is like it's a kind of a gateway for innovation, right? This is what you actually
Uh,
mean.
yeah. I'm also not considering this as a bad thing, right? I think
Yeah.
that at the end of the day, the products that we have today have to be fine-tuned and they have to perform well before we make the next step, right? The foundation has to be solid. So I don't necessarily see it as a very bad thing. It's kind of a feeling of something is about to happen, right? This is more. So yeah, I'm optimistic.
Recently, when I had a conversation with one of my friends from the affiliate space, she also mentioned a similar thing. She said, like, we are doing the same things all over again. So I really believe that the industry needs some innovation, not only in a certain field of the work, but in different perspectives as well. So definitely, and what I feel like iGaming brands are constantly searching for that next big idea when it comes to growth, especially. Maybe we can agree that the traditional approaches don't really seem to work anymore. I was wondering your opinion on this. According to your experience, what are some outside the box growth strategies for iGaming brands?
Mhm. So I'm not necessarily going to like explore crazy out of the box solutions. I think, but what I would say is that again, I really believe that growth comes from product driven, product driven approach, meaning that the better the product, at the end of the day, it will lead to better, obviously, retention of the players. The habits are going to be much better. You can look at apps like again Revolut, for example. Those small habits of coming back to the app, those small interactions that you have inside the product. The small nudges. It's so appealing and so good, and it provides you always the right next step that choosing between number of financial apps, you will come to something that is just feels more comfortable. So I think this is the habit that we want to keep working on in terms of the iGaming products. Now you have amazing products out there. I think the industry understands it, and there's a lot of focus on microtransactions. There's a lot of focus on the UI UX experiences. As mentioned before, the gamification start to be truly integrated into the products. So there's real chance to improve every small step of the way that will lead to to better player experience, of course. I think that one kind of area that I would expect something to maybe happen a bit out of the box is the content discovery process is slightly maybe outdated. Again, there is variety of recommendation engines that are being integrated or developed in-house, but I would maybe look for something that is slightly more advanced, more tailored. Again, there's a variety of content. It's really difficult to find new titles of games. It's difficult to actually kind of create new habit of playing new games because it's so overwhelming, right? So again, it's always mentioning the Netflix experience, the Spotify experience. We need to understand what actually fits for our players. But I think that this part can be explored a bit more. I see that there's a couple of options that are being explored, but very, very carefully. Maybe somebody needs to take kind of a leap of faith into trying to do something slightly different. Maybe there's an opportunity here.
At the end of the day, it seems like the way we consume content is changing everything, even in iGaming, of course. So listening to the players and understanding their experience is probably the place to start, right, for this kind of growth strategies.
Yes, yes, and again, you have different segments of players. You have players that are, already experienced. They have a set of games that they like to play. They will come and consume this content. But there's also a very large segment of players that have different habits. Younger generation, they try to, to try different games. The attention span is lower, and so on and so on. So there's opportunities in creating slightly different way of actually experiencing this whole iGaming kind of website and app and so on. So I think there's interesting ideas that will be coming really soon to this specific area.
Definitely, Michael, some food for thought here for sure. We're witnessing the sweepstakes casinos. They are getting a lot of attention, I must say, particularly in the US market. And also, I remember you recently launched at Vegangster the support for sweepstakes casinos. What makes them different from traditional online casinos, and why should operators pay attention?
Mm-hmm. So definitely they are very popular in the U.S. markets. There is some regulators concerns and in some cases that we all heard about, but nevertheless this is very popular. A lot of brands are still exploring this opportunity. What is very interesting is that it kind of addressed the fact that players like the content that we all familiar with. So same game providers with the same games. We know that they work and they're popular. So you have the benefit of the same content, but you have kind of a lighter approach to onboarding. So you have the social elements. Basically, you have different types of coins that you can play. You have your fun coins. You have your packages of coins that you can purchase. So the experience of onboarding the players seems slightly kind of more light. It also hits a different, slightly different audience. Gender is slightly different, or the weights of the genders is slightly different. So this is a very interesting opportunity as well. Also, there are certain mechanics that are just softer in terms of taking the player through this journey and creating this habit of consuming this specific type of content. So I think those are making the sweepstakes interesting. I think there's interesting to look into the sweepstake also from not specific market, but also as an opportunity to introduce the players to the content and then cross sell to maybe more traditional casinos with real money play or sport betting. It's an interesting opportunity to look, especially you've mentioned the acquisition part, which is very difficult. So maybe those kind of deep funnels might be interesting to explore in different markets, or some of the mechanics of those sweepstakes casino can be also explored. I think this is an interesting opportunity that we're checking with number of potential customers, affiliates, and so on. Maybe interesting to explore. You have some insights on social behavior that you can take after that towards, let's say, more social experiences that you can develop as part of the product. This is another aspect. And I think a very important also consideration when choosing the sweepstake is we understand that this sweepstake operation might be run by the same operational teams. So when we were, for example, developing the product, we were thinking about how we can create a solution that will not differ from the day-to-day operational tools inside the platform. So we want to create support for the sweepstake, but making sure that the same teams can operate those brands as well. This was slightly challenging, but I think that now the same team can support, and I think this is important. Again, this is a product that might be used either as an interesting funnel or just run by the same operational teams. I think those are, making the product and this direction specifically interesting. It's very interesting to see how players behave on those casinos.
I really love the way you think when it comes to that product integration, especially making the operations smoother for operators. Because if things are set a little bit differently, from day-to-day operations, as you just mentioned, it is going to put a bit burden on top of the operation teams. Maybe you need to separate a different department and so on. That means dividing the resources. So I guess that you have done over there is like quite impressive. This is definitely a great step for optimization. Uh, in one of your recent interviews, Michael, I heard that you were saying if any operators work with you at Vegangster, you can launch Telegram casinos in just a couple of days. How about sweepstakes integration? Is it also that quick?
Well, the sweepstake brand will take slightly longer, but we really can set up the sweepstake really fast. Maybe not a couple of days, but very quick. Maybe within a couple of weeks, if all the legal part is done. It is very quick. And I think in general the operational optimization is one of the keys in terms of the growth. Doesn't matter which product you launched. We've touched on the growth aspects. I think that constantly thinking how we can optimize the operational costs and the operational hustle is something that we need to work towards, especially with everything that is happening with the technology today, with optimization, with AI tools that are introduced. So we're definitely looking into that. And this was one of the aspects also by creating kind of a complementary product, again, like Telegram Casino, like sweepstakes and so on.
So, Mike, I think we can say that testing out the sweepstakes casinos could be a way out of that potential plateau that iGaming operators hit. But there's also a shift towards short spin-to-play games. How to say it, like almost the TikTok of casino gaming. How can this short-form casino concept help brands differentiate themselves from the competition and drive engagement?
It's a cool idea that we're exploring recently. Let's imagine slightly different approach to to a player experience when player enters the website or gets into the app. Of course, we're talking about the mobile experience, right, where all the players are mobile first. So when we talk about this TikTok, and we mentioned a bit the content discovery, right? So the kind of swipe, real, short, format of content discovery is something that we're familiar from, all the tools, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram Reels, and anything that is out there today. They have these formats. Usually the formats are optimized for a specific goal. There's also like very aggressive tools like TikTok. They optimize for you to stay inside the feed as long as you want, and there's slightly lighter versions like Spotify. They will optimize for you to find the right content and then to consume this content later on. I think we're more towards this approach. So we want the players to find content easily, save it for later, and then consume this content after that by playing the games, playing live activities, making bets on sports, and so on and so on. So the optimization phase would be slightly different. But in terms of the vision that we're working on, is basically an experience that a player enters the website, starts scrolling, and the player sees videos of the game play, right? So the tiles that you have on the traditional lobby are a bit boring, I would say, right? You have those those items that were picked based on certain logic or maybe by recommendation. But usually the amount of space that you have is quite limited. You have a couple of lines, and then nobody scrolls after that. So there's problems in terms of actually finding out. And then the picture itself doesn't say much. When you browse through this feed and you see the gameplay, it might be an example, a video of a win, or you see the gameplay, so you understand how the games behaves, what are the interesting mechanics that you see inside the game. It's more engaging and it's easier to actually understand, do I like the game or not? Of course, by combining recommendation engine to this mechanics, you can handpick the content that you show to the user, and then the games are going to be much more tailored for the specific user, and then you can see the video of that game. So this is one part that we have been working on. But let's kind of take it slightly farther, right? Let's say that you like the game and you want to play this game. We are working on making sure that you will be able to play the game inside the feed directly. So you enter the feed, you play the game, and the game might be either preloaded, and then it's easier for you to just start playing the game. You don't have this load time. So this is one. And you will be able to swipe between different games. So maybe I'm not playing one game at a time. Maybe I'm playing a couple of games, so I can swipe between different games, and within the feed play one game, then switch to another one, and just continue from the same place that I have left, right? So the experience is more interactive. You can interact with more content at the same time. So this is one part. And then while you're swiping through the feed, then of course there's a lot of things that we offer to our players, right? We have promotions, we have tournaments. So why don't we just show this content in a more interactive way inside the feed, right? So if there's a tournament that is there, let's show in a video format this tournament experience, right? And we'll allow the player to opt in directly from there. And maybe then we'll start scrolling through the games that are in the tournament. So this is another aspect, right? So we're not focusing just on the discovery, we're also focusing on the whole experience and discovering other gamification or interesting things that are happening in the website. And then while you start, you continue your scrolling, maybe we'll start showing you some other players' gameplay, right? So this is a real-time streaming. You can see somebody else is playing, right? So this is not exactly user-generated content, but maybe this is the closest you can get to actually watching somebody else play, right? So now not only you explore the game, but you can also actually, watch. And maybe we can start using some additional features like, betting behind the player. Maybe I want to do some bets. Again, there's some solutions are out there, but I think that it's kind of not truly integrated into the experience, right? But when I'm inside the feed and I'm exploring this game and somebody else is playing, maybe I'm gonna, just copy a couple of bets and see how it goes, and then switch to my, other game that is open. So I can basically explore the whole offering of the website without leaving the feed, just by scrolling. Of course, there's a lot of technological challenges that we're working on and so on, but it's getting there. Okay, so kind of this idea of switching a bit from the traditional format is something that I believe might be very interesting for a specific type of players, right? Maybe it's going to be at the beginning a combination of this kind of feed with the more classical approach. And maybe somebody will, again, try to have just that inside their website. So it's still in the testing and still needs to be explored with, like we discussed before, with real player feedback. But I do believe that it might be a fresh and engaging experience.
I'm so excited for the outcome, Michael. There's just one thing I would like to ask just to understand it better. So the player experience will be personalized. This is what I see from what you're saying. So there will be like different games are shown, and then based on the likes, the, let's say, games that the player is enjoying, then later on that you're actually showing more of that content, and time to time adding some different content to let them choose maybe some other verticals, let's call it this way. So is it working that way? Yeah.
Exactly. So you get those different signals from the player. Signals might be, like you've mentioned, a like, right? Or a share of a certain game. Or it might be, just the time that you spend inside the game. All those will be fed into the model, and then you have your own recommendation. You have your similarity games. You have things that you played or you might play. So all the categories that for the advanced operators that use recommendation engine, all the categories that you see in the lobby will be incorporated into this feed, but without you actually thinking, do I need to go to the category of games that I might play? I don't want to go there. Just show me the next game. People on Netflix were kind of at the beginning against this feature of I'm gonna, Netflix is going to download you just the content that you might like. But now when I, sit in the plane, I just go to this directory and most of the content is, something that I like. So the shift will happen here as well, because at the end of the day, the usage of data, of big data from different geos and different brands allow to create proper analysis and to match you with the right content.
Yeah, so when the players are not in front of the casino website, like let's say they are consuming some content on social media and so on, you're actually bringing a similar experience to them. So I'm really very excited to hear what actually operators and players will give as a feedback on that. So I'm really looking forward to that. And it is incredible how quickly things are moving and evolving, honestly. There's one more thing that you actually sparkled on my mind. In our industry, it's a growing concern that acquisition costs are rising. Yes, player experience, having more players, they are excellent. They are fantastic news for operators, but acquiring those players are really quite expensive recently. So that's a kind of a challenge. But another challenge is keeping those players engaged. I was wondering your take on maybe a kind of a holistic approach that helps iGaming brands acquire, engage, and retain those players.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a kind of a big question, right? There's a lot of marketing efforts that are being done. I'll address a couple of things again from a specific angle, because obviously the acquisition part is a lot about the marketing efforts and the creativity and so on. But I'll address the how I see the integration within the product and what is important. I do believe that, again, due to a lot of operational efforts that are required to run a successful iGaming business, you have a lot of moving parts, and you will continue to have a lot of departments, moving parts, and so on. And we want to simplify at least the platform part. So we want to have a kind of an approach where we have all-in, efficient, optimized platform. This is the approach that we're taking. Obviously, we are doing some integrations from external tools. You cannot live without it, but we're trying to kind of have the 20% of the most frequent use cases, frequent tools inside the platform. Okay. And then what we want to allow the different departments, so starting from the acquisition, for example, is to have a very flexible product that allows you to test and tweak everything that is related to the acquisition, for example. So built-in A/B testing mechanism, flexibility around the registration forms, builders, and the whole journey that happens after that. And what we actually want to do is we want to allow the marketing teams to test their theories very quickly. So traditionally, it's very it's very non-flexible products, and sometimes due to that lack of flexibility, the cost rise because we cannot test and we cannot iterate fast with our different approaches. So this is one aspect that I think every platform should focus, or the product should focus on. We're definitely focusing there. So providing the acquisition team, affiliates, and so on, all the tools that will allow them to iterate and find the right solution. Sometimes the solution is there, but it just takes time to get there. So the faster you iterate, the more flexible you are in the journey of acquiring the customers, the better, the more you can reduce in terms of the cost. So this is one area. Then, of course, all the rest of the customer journeys are super important. And again, we want everything to work together. The platform should orchestrate everything, and that will allow you to retain. But in general, my kind of message is that today the technology has really evolved, right? You have AI assistant tools that allow you to create much more code faster. You can iterate faster. There's no excuse, even in our industry, to have very long development cycles, right? So from the request, especially around acquiring customers, retaining customers, we should aim to have very fast iterations and ship fast, right? This is something that was not traditionally in our industry, but I think there's no excuse anymore. So the faster you iterate and the faster you can test theories, the better you will be in terms of operational optimization. Hence, you'll reduce the cost on acquisition, on retention, and so on.
Yeah, so let's say if an operator can actually test the platform, all the new innovations, the journeys, and so on, they will be a step further than those who are actually running those tests like much slower. So definitely, and I think everybody should consider using any kind of advanced tools, because when you look at the ROI, it is much higher what you get out of the whole thing. I really like
Yeah.
what you mentioned about the um, understanding the customer journey and optimizing it. I think this is where it needs to start. And as you say, you are equipped with all these tools now. There's no excuse. I enjoyed this phrase a lot. um, as far as I know, in at Vegangster product, you have got all the tracking features, the CRM and everything built in. So this is going to also help. So you don't need to just go outside, shop for different tools, modules, and so on. So I believe this is also one of the advantages, right?
Yeah, we have our own internal CRM system, which includes kind of covers two main aspects. You have the customer journey builder, so you will be able to basically create any journey for the customer. What happens after X days, after a certain action has happened. This is all integrated with all the different channels of communication that you might want, native push, web pushes, emails, SMSs, telegrams, anything that you can think about basically today. So this is the customer journey, and then you have your automatic campaigns that allow you to create your promotional calendar, and address all the needs, all the operational needs, again, through all the communication channels, through all the things that you can actually give to the customers, the bonuses, the free spins, the tickets, and so on and so on. So everything is kind of integrated. And again, because it's an in-house solution, everything is really integrated with everything that you create inside the platform. So operational wise, it's very easy to set up and to maintain. This is the goal. So I'm pretty sure that the customers that will use our platform will not be missing anything from that perspective.
When you mentioned about the holistic approach, it sounds to me like a kind of a flywheel. So acquisition, retention, loyalty programs, gamification all needs to actually work together. And the data that you have got from the players should feed, at each stage of your strategy. So I think that's something that definitely needs to be addressed, if you ask my
Mhm.
opinion, at a lot of operators nowadays. I know that you have a particular interest, especially in loyalty programs and gamification. I would like to hear more about them, and maybe you can
Mhm.
share some tactics that you find effectively, or maybe you can recommend a couple of, let's say, strategies that you find really useful about the loyalty programs and gamification.
Mhm. Okay, so yeah, I am a big fan. This I consider this. You've mentioned that it's important for things to work together. I look into that as a kind of a one whole economy, right? At the end of
Yeah.
the day, you have certain costs that you bury. You give things to the players, and then there's a certain ROI on different activities. So the whole kind of iGaming, the website economy is something that you want to work together. And big part of it is everything that is related to gamification. So like the checklist that I have in my mind in terms of what you should have around this area is it starts with the loyalty system, right? So you need to have a loyalty system. We as individuals, we like to own something, right? So different levels. I'm going to generalize a bit. So loyalty system should support different levels. It has to be flexible, going up and down. It supports all the perks, all the benefits that you can give to the players on different levels, and you can accumulate, your experience points, your your alternative coins or points. It doesn't matter how you call it. So this is one part, and then you want to address the competitive play of the player, right? We are, or at least some of the segments are very competitive, so you need to have those gamification mechanics. So we're talking about leaderboards, tournaments, races, mechanics to keep it interesting, right? It should be segmented. It should be very flexible. But all in all, this is the competitive play part. And then you have your kind of, more of a chance kind of mechanics, right? So lotteries, raffles, everything out of that world. So this is another part that you need to have to engage a specific part of your player base. And then, of course, when we have our players, we want to take them through a long journey, right? We're working towards a longer, lifetime of the player. So you want to have your longer journeys. So everything that is around interactive maps or like tasks that are completed for a long period of time, for example, a month period, a couple of weeks period, even farther, right? So all the tools that allow you to visualize this journey for the player will keep the long kind of distance players, will keep them engaged at every step, and you will be able to visualize this very nicely. But there's also a different type of players that you want to occupy them with short time kind of activities, missions, right? So, okay, maybe you're on a long journey, but you want something very quick today. So you need to have mechanics that will allow you to do small achievements, small missions. Do a couple of things today, get something, then come back tomorrow, do something else, right? So this is a short-term kind of aspect of the gamification. And the last part would be everything that is like a total surprise. So can be a prize drop, a wheel of fortune, mystery box that you get. Out of the blue, right? A jackpot hit, and so on and so on. So this is the kind of the surprise mechanic, right? So with having all of those, you will cover most of the needs from the mechanics perspective. Now, what you do with those tools, it's on the creative part and on the content management and the strategic part of your retention team. What is very important is that we try to utilize AI tools that will help you to create the content, to do the translation, to do the personalization, and so on. So we're working with existing models and starting to work with some of our internal models as well. This will definitely help to focus on the strategy and not on the every translation or every word that we actually create, and in all the languages. So this is a very important part of what we should have inside those systems as well.
Definitely, localization is an important aspect when it comes to running
Yeah.
an operator. So yeah, I was just thinking when you were just talking about gamification, isn't it in all walks of our life right now? Like, let's say you want to learn a language, you want to have a finance app that you're managing your budget,
Mm-hmm.
or you want to trade, let's say, some crypto and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere right now we see gamification, and I think if operators, they do not adopt it, at some point the players will demand it and they might be out of the business. So this is really something getting very, very important, and I think they should not miss the opportunity here and jump on the wagon as soon as possible. And talking about operators, Michael, we have a lot of viewers at Revpanda Live watching us, like as operators, let's say it, and
Mm-hmm.
some of them are just looking to start their journey. They are just setting up their website, and also there are some experienced operators. They consider an update based on what you were actually telling us today with all these new features, new opportunities. Uh, you like giving checklists. I know it. You just provided one for us earlier, but now I want to ask you another checklist. When choosing a reliable platform provider, what would be your key recommendations?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's try to get another checklist, right? From this podcast. So first of all, I'm going to start with something that is like really cliche, but it's very important. You need to choose a partner for this journey. It's quite complex, the whole setup of this business. So first of all, you need to find a company that will be a good partner, right? This is the part of the cliche. I'll stop with that. Then I think if I need to go through a checklist, I think first aspect I would look into the operational readiness. So just your timelines. Okay, get your timelines correctly. You have your own budgeting, marketing campaigns, and so on. Make sure that the platform can provide you the solution in time. You don't want to waste time. Time to market is very important. Sometimes you have opportunity in a specific market, in a specific niche, maybe with specific source of traffic. So this is one of the aspects that I would check. I think we touched a bit on some of the aspects. I think you need to look into the whole customer journey. So when you're choosing a platform, you need to look into the whole flow, right? So we've mentioned acquisition, retention, and so on. You need to really look into the whole journey and make sure that you can check all the points, and you don't need to go to other tools, or like it's very complicated to start your operation. So just go over the checklist, or ask to help to go over the checklist of the customer journey or the life cycle journeys, and make sure that the platform supports everything. Next one would be UI flexibility. Of course, as a let's say starting operator, you will start most likely from out of the box solution, but when you choose a specific platform, go look into the UI, especially focus on the mobile one, and make sure that you can move things around with a kind of a proper pace, right? So not a request that will end up in a queue and will happen after 6 or 9 months. Okay, so this is another very important aspect. We need to remember the players will interact with the UI. It's the most important part. Then you go for the toolbox. We've done the checklist for the the gamification part. So just look at the whole toolbox. Do I have a CRM? Do I have a gamification suite, right, with all the items that we've mentioned before? Do I have all the integration with different communication channels, and so on and so on. So just look into the toolbox and make sure that you have everything that you need. The next one would go to other aspect of operation. I would look specifically into anti-fraud. So you need either managed service or the tools for anti-fraud. New brands are prone to fraud, bonus abuse. For sure, you will need help from the get-go. This is a very important aspect that can kind of bleed your budget. And again, look for automation, look for AI, look for recommendation that can help you around this area if you don't have experienced operational teams, or you can consume managed services. This is also good. Then you go towards the payment solutions, right? This is crucial. This is where the money comes in. So depending on the geo, you might be looking into a platform that has number of gateways integrated. So not only one cashier, maybe a couple of options, maybe something that will be flexible, something that will fit for each player, the right cashier, the right gateway. I'm not talking about just the payment methods. This is basic. I'm talking the whole cashier. So some work better on some specific markets. So this is another aspect. And then you go to your data and analytics. Look into the reports, what the platform offers in terms of reports. Can I get the data, if I'm an experienced team, can I get the data via Kafka outside to our analytical teams? Do I have access to the data in real time? And so on. That will allow to analyze the business, to run and correct it correctly. And last one, I would look into the innovation roadmap. Okay, the platform that I've chosen, do those guys actually know where they're going, right? What is the roadmap? Is it clear? Is it interesting? Do I see some interesting items that the team is working on for my future plans, and so on? I think those kind of items will cover most of the things. At least that's what I would check.
Excellent point. Thank you so much. You touched base on my next question before we, wrap up the show. I wanted to ask you about maybe a piece of advice to iGaming brands looking to succeed and grow in 2025. Maybe you can briefly tell us if there's something else that you want to mention.
I think we've covered extensively most of the things.
Yeah.
I think again, look into the trends, make sure that changes can be done quickly. Usually the teams are very creative. Sometimes the creativity just faces long development cycles and get forgotten. I think there's a lot of creativity in the industry around acquisition, retention, and so on. We just need the right tools and moving fast. And we definitely need to look outside to see what's happening in other industries. I think there's very exciting, from technology and product perspective, it's super exciting what's happening right now.
I really like what you say about it, looking outside of iGaming, other industries, because sometimes I feel like we are too focused on what we do and we are missing out some of the developments that is happening outside of iGaming. So definitely that's a really good recommendation for our viewers. Michael, thank you for all the insights that you gave. I learned a lot of things today. We try to stimulate our viewers' mind a bit, and we were after the answer to how iGaming brands can get out of their growth plateau. I really enjoyed the holistic approach recommendations that you came up with for acquisition and retention strategies. And we explored some new ideas like sweepstakes casinos and how they can help iGaming brands achieve their goals. So these are really amazing suggestions. Now let's reflect on our audience a bit because during the week I received some questions from our social media.
Great.
And let's answer them briefly. The first one is which iGaming markets show the most potential for expansion in 2025?
Well, we see actually quite a lot of markets. Again, there's a lot of changes in the Latam market. So this is an area, Asian markets, again, are looking really good. And of course, other markets are kind of expanding some into the regulation, some are not. I would say that Asian markets, Latam markets are very interesting, but again, there's niche opportunities around everything. I think operators need to explore, and there's a lot of opportunities out there.
Definitely. And our next question is some of your, like, let's say one of the favorite topics that you like. What's your opinion on Telegram casinos? Do you really think they are successful?
Well, there's a lot of recent changes in terms of bans of Telegram inside the Telegram app itself. For now, there's still some apps that are up and running, but most of the big casinos went out of the Telegram. I think Telegram is still a very good opportunity in terms of community management and communication. We need to see how the Telegram internal regulation is going to evolve. For now, it's kind of on hold. I would, at the moment, use it more as a community management feature rather than putting all your money on the Telegram casino running inside the Telegram itself.
Excellent. Michael, thank you. I was wondering if you have anything to add before we wrap up the show today.
I think we covered everything. It was really fun joining you today.
Thank you, Michael. And before we call it a day, I was wondering maybe you can let our viewers know about how they can reach out to you, especially about the topics that we talk about.
Well, the best way to reach me is on LinkedIn. I'm at Oziransky. On LinkedIn, it's easy to find me. I'm trying to answer all the DMs, so that's the best way.
Amazing. Michael, thank you. And thank you, everyone who joined us today. I hope you found this session valuable. Please make sure you follow Revpanda on our social media. Check out our YouTube and Spotify channels for more content. We had today Michael Oziransky, the Chief Product Officer at Vegangster. We had a lot of insights from him. And once again, Michael, thank you. And I will see you all at the next Revpanda live session.